Hello, my name is Jim Sparks, and I'm here at Camp Redwood Glen in the Outdoor Chapel with my good friend Captain Lisa Barnes, the Divisional Youth Secretary for the Southwest Division. Recently, Captain Lisa has written a book called Love to a Whore's Daughter. Lisa, tell us a little bit about the book.
Originally, it was designed to be a guide to faith for young adults. So it's written like a book of essays, where every chapter is independent from each other. So there's not one solid topic or theme that runs throughout, other than the topic and the theme of grace and redemption, because that's everywhere in it. But in addition to it being a guide to faith for young adults, it's very much written through the lens of my story and who I am and where I've been and why I view life and faith and the Lord the way I do.
Writing a book is daunting. What was the inspiration for it?
I think the inspiration, knowing that the Lord has put a passion in my heart to write. I really love writing. I've kind of been a journaler my whole life. So I write, I blog, and then the opportunity kind of came to write a book. And the person who asked me suggested that maybe this might be a cool thing to do. And I said, no thanks, because I really don't like deadlines and I really don't like being told what to do. So they said, you can write about whatever the Lord puts on your heart and take as much time as you need. So I just poured my life and my heart and my story into this book, and it took me only about 5 months, which was pretty neat. And it was just kind of a great process to be a part of.
And the book tells really about you. It's about you.
Yeah.
So as you're writing the book, how did you, obviously you're experiencing different emotions as you're writing the book because you're reliving some things. And how did you kind of go through that as you're writing?
You know, I'm exponentially more and more thankful for the people that God has put in my life to kind of stand in the place for family. My friends that I love and I depend on, we grew even closer through this process. My relationship with the Lord deepened for sure, but it was just overall a good reminder to live our lives viewing things that have happened to us, our wounds and our failures, and maybe the bad choices of others through a redemptive perspective. And just knowing that, we've all been hurt and we all have our stuff. We're not the only one, and you don't have to be defined by what was or what's happened to you, or even your own choices. Mm-hmm. You know, that God's grace covers that stuff, and every day you just get a fresh start.
Great. The book is finished. It'll be coming out soon. What do you hope your readers get from the book? What do you hope the outcome is?
You know, I don't know where this book is going to go. I don't know how many people are going to read it. I don't know if it's going to be a big thing or it's not going to really be much. But in my mind, my prayer through this whole thing has just been for the one. I just want one. I just want one person who thinks maybe they don't fit in the church, or that they're too weird, or they're a little different, or they come from a family structure that's maybe embarrassing from them. Maybe they come from addict parents like I did, or they've been homeless like I've been homeless, or maybe they're just a weirdo that sits on the margins like I do. And I want them to know that they're welcome in the body of Christ. And maybe it'll be a few people, but I've been praying for the one.
Tell us the one thing that you want people to know going into reading this book.
Well, my first hope was that people would just kind of give it a chance. I don't know how many Christian folks would just so openly and readily pick up a book with the word whore in the title. But I want them to know that wherever we come from, whatever has been a part of your story, that God can redeem that. That God can make beautiful things out of ashes. He's done it with all of our lives. And I grew up in a home with a mother who was an addict and a prostitute. And I think it's important for people to know that nothing is too far away from God's grace. And I think when we picture people who live their lives maybe in addiction or struggling with mental illness or choices like prostitution, those are some of the things that people feel are beyond hope, that they're just a lost cause. And I would love for people to give this book a chance, to see that I'm not a lost cause. There was people who poured into me, leaders and pastors and friends who love Jesus, that showed me that there's hope for everybody.
Tell us something that you learned about yourself through the writing process.
You know, before I started writing this book, I really felt like I was okay. I really felt like I was over the wounds and the hurts and kind of moved past that part of my life. As, you know, a woman in her 30s, married with a family, I'm definitely not that person anymore. But through this writing process, I realized that there was a whole lot of stuff that I hadn't addressed, really. And I was haunted by the ghost of the girl that I used to be more often than I'd really like to admit. So going through this process, realizing that that the healing that the Lord does in our life is a very continual process. And I think sometimes it has ebbs and flows. And some days we are fully restored by the grace of Jesus. But as we walk in our journey with Christ, sometimes we take a few steps back. And I realized through this process that I had taken a few steps back, that I wasn't maybe in the Word as much as I should have been, and maybe my attitude for others wasn't always very gracious. And even the way I view myself and Christ's love, I still felt like the love of Jesus for me had conditions, and I had to be good enough, you know. And there was a season where I felt like, because I don't have a family, I really felt like the best way I can describe it is like an Olympic gymnast who goes and they do their routine and they stick a perfect landing, and then they look up and realize they did a routine for a completely empty auditorium. And I felt, why am I doing this for no one? But then I just kind of, through this process, realized that I just want to do it for Jesus. Even if nobody's watching, even if I'm the only one, I just want to live for Jesus.
Thanks again, Lisa, for joining us. And look for the book. It will be coming out this fall from New Frontier Press. We know that this book is going to impact a lot of lives. Thank you for watching.